The Crow, 2024, a remake of a film that nobody asked for or wanted. A movie with a pretty decent cast, a few names, definitely recognizable faces. A movie that strives to be something in every second that it's on the screen. A movie that possibly fails at that. Today we're going to get into it in the Midnight Review. I'm your host, Corey. As I just mentioned up top, we're talking about The Crow, the 2024 movie. You got Bill Skarsgård, FKA Twigs, Danny Houston, to name a few of the people that are in it. It's a movie about two people. They fall in love. They get killed, both of them at the same time. Get absolutely bodied with a fucking... How the fuck? Oh my god, they suffocate them. They put like a plastic bag over their head, which is just fucking nuts to kill somebody that way. Because I'm saying, look, unless you've got my hands, you put a plastic bag around me, fingers straight to the mouth. I'm popping that bag. That bag's getting teared. Or if like I can't use my hands, I'm biting the bag. I mean, I don't know. Plastic bag's kind of a crazy way to go out, but they both get suffocated with a plastic bag. Both get murdered. Now, what I just told you should have been the beginning of the movie, but that's not how it starts. That's just not how the movie starts. The movie starts with them fucking what's her name? FKA Twigs gets sent like this fucking video on her phone about something that happened that you'll find out about later on the film. And it's like this fucking it's this video of her doing something very bad. And then she's trying to like, it shows her doing something very bad with criminals around her. And she's trying to, they want to use it. Her friends want to use it to expose what happened there. She doesn't want to, but the criminals now find out that she has the video. It's just as bad. It's just, look, the plot of this movie is so basic at points where it's just crazy. She has a video. Bad guys want it. They're trying to kill her. So she takes off from her apartment. She goes running down the street, runs into some cops, and she has like, what does she have? She's like cocaine in her purse or some shit. So they found the cocaine, and instead of sending her to jail, which, look, she's a black lady, I'm sure they would have sent her to jail. She gets sent to a rehab center. In the rehab center, she meets the Crow, who's played by Bill Skarsgård. Now he looks like he's an emo guy living in the rehab center. He has suicidal thoughts and tendencies, and he just he's kind of sad, very quiet. Eventually, they start talking. She starts chatting him up. And they're like, all right, let's break out of here. Then they break out of there, and then they're on the run for a couple weeks. It doesn't really explain how long they're on the run for, but basically during that time, you just kind of see them like developing the relationship, learning a little bit more about each other, falling in love, I guess, because they're supposed to be in love. So we have to see them fall in love. I guess they fall in love, and he starts thinking of her as his soulmate. I don't know. I mean, the relationship is just poorly defined throughout the movie. I mean, look, I swear it took like 30 minutes to an hour before they died, which is bad because this movie should have been like in my opinion, this should have been a John Wick, because like this is a remake of like something that became like a cult classic later on, but nobody was like, oh, we need this, like we need another The Crow movie. Nobody was begging for that kind of shit. But yeah, we just witnessed it, and this could have been, because the trailers make it look like it's like a John Wick type thing where he's coming back, but he's just fucking, he's just brutally murdering people and shit, which is not what's happening. I mean, it does happen, but not in the sense you might think. So basically, I'm speedrunning this because this movie is so like, it washes over you in such an insane way that it's crazy. Like it's just crazy. It's really nothing. There's nothing to it. So it's hard for me to even want to sit down and do this review about it. And not only that, but I'm doing it by myself. So now I have to make it like sound like I'm doing something. But like, so they fall in love. They get murdered. The Crow gets sent to looks like a train track like area. It looks like a bunch of like converging train tracks, which could be like, I don't know, symbolism for like destiny or the path you're supposed to be moving on, something like that or whatever. He gets sent there. They end up calling it like a limbo sort of type dealio. He meets a guy there who he's like, are you an angel? And the guy just laughs at him. He's like, do I look like an angel? Which, based on things that happen later on in the movie, that guy was definitely an angel. So I don't know why he's capping on this guy. Like I don't understand why he's capping on this guy. So basically, he's in there. Bill Skarsgård's like, hey, my girl, she just done got choked out in front of me. I saw her going to hell because when he dies, he starts to see her get dragged down into like a water thing, which I like. I like showing like an afterlife of like kind of like making it like a pool of water, like you sink to the bottom, which symbolizes like going down to hell, or you float to the top, which symbolizes like going up to the heavens and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool symbolism. I like it. But anyways, he sees her get sent down there, and he talks to this angel, and is like, "Hey, bro, simply put, let me run up on these niggas. I'm gonna drop a couple shots in them, and we gonna go the opposite ways." And he's like, "Bet you could do that for me. I'll send you and you'll go both up to heaven. And you ain't gotta hear from me." No, he says, "I'll send you and you'll go both back to life. You ain't gotta hear from me or see me ever again." He's like, "All right, word, 1, 2." And with that, here comes the power of the crow. And so he gets like a little bit of crow powers. Basically, he just reanimates his fucking body. He wakes up in the same spot that he got killed in. His girlfriend's body is nowhere to be found. By the way, I don't think he's ever sure of exactly where her body went. But the body's nowhere to be found. He wakes up. There's a police officer there. He tries to get help from the police officer. Turns out to be a criminal. They fight. He gets shot a couple times. And then you see him heal. And he kills the police officer. It's real basic. I mean, it's real basic shit. It just truly is basic shit. There's no other way to put this movie except for it's basic. Like, it's got like some good action stuff in it. I like the concept of it. I like the look of it. Visually, it's a good looking movie. But there's just so many basic things with it. Like the city in this movie, I don't think it's ever named what city it's supposed to be. But it's like a mix between New York and like, I don't know, fucking France. Because like I said, look, I'm black. I know what police are. That's a black lady who was carrying like a bunch of cocaine. They're not sending her off to fucking rehab. She's going to jail. That's where she's going. She's going just actually to jail. She's carrying cocaine on her. Like I don't know. I don't get it. And they're also both like in their 20s. Like they're not like children. So like I don't know. Bill Skarsgård is in the rehab center because he tried to kill himself. So he's got an actual reason to be in a rehab center. Okay, Twig's character though, probably not. But anyways, moving on from that. Yeah, they had a fight scene. He's like, all right. And he starts doing like little detective work, you know, like going through their phones, calling up their friends, being like, hey, like we're going to go here to do this thing, to look for things. You know, and then he starts going after him. He sees this woman. Oh my God, I didn't even tell you guys about this guy. The main villain, whose name is Vincent Rogue, played by Danny Houston, is like a demon guy who when he gets close to somebody, he whispers into their ear. And when he whispers into their ear, they just do bad things. How creative is that? Doesn't that sound really cool and creative? Isn't that such a good idea for a villain of a movie to do? Isn't that like a cool power for like a villain to have? Is that he whispers into their ear and they do bad things? How cool is that? How many times have you seen that? Because I feel like I've seen it a bunch, but maybe I'm just crazy. But he does that. That's the villain's power, is that he whispers into the ear and they do bad things. Oh, and he also doesn't die. He's been alive for a couple centuries, and he does that by killing innocent people. It's crazy. It's not even crazy. It's so boring. He's such a boring character that it's just nothing. But anyways, he's got this lady who's an assistant for him. The crow finds her eventually, shoots her, starts shooting at her car with a revolver, gets ran the fuck down, absolutely demolished, like ran straight the fuck over. He gets ran over, gets up, goes to his friend's house, who's a tattoo artist, which is another thing. The scene I'm about to describe has his friend in it, who is in one other scene, which is, I believe, a flashback of him getting a tattoo. And his friend, I think, says like one thing about, oh, you ain't gonna let me finish my work, because the girlfriend comes in and starts interrupting them. And that's it. So you don't really get the sense that they were like even friends. Like I thought he was just a tattoo artist. Apparently they're friends. So anyways, he goes to his friend's house. He's chatting his friend. He's like, hey, my girl's dead. I'm alive. I'm hunting these niggas down. You got a gun. He gets his gun and shit. And then he gets another gun and shit. And then he starts doing the gangster shit. More bad guys come in. He's sitting there with his friend. He just the fucking crow just charges the dudes. Absolutely charges the dudes, gets pinned to the ground, and then has like this moment where you see like true like sadness and expression like of like anger and sadness mixed on his face as he starts screaming as one of the dudes just walks up and shoots his friend in the head. And he takes that as a moment to fucking like get up and start trying to fight them. And so like he starts throwing actual punches and shit. Shoots I think he like shoots one, and then they fucking shotgun him into the tub. And in the tub, he has, holy shit. Okay, so at a certain point between this and what I just said, he found out that his girlfriend killed a man when she was under the influence of the evil guy, Vincent Rogue. It's such a bad name. And under the evil guy, Vincent, he has the power, like I said, he makes you do evil shit. He did that to the crow's girlfriend, and then she killed a man. And that's the big thing where she was like, that's the big thing that was bad that she did. And so the crow starts doubting if he really loves her, if he really wants to do this mission. He gets sent back to the afterlife, and he's like, I don't know. I didn't know she did all that shit. And the dudes and the angels there is like, okay, well then you're done. And he's like, wait, no. I want to save her, but I'll save her, but you can have me. He's like, oh, word? So she gets to come back, but you go to hell. And he's like, yeah. He's like, all right, bet. Sends the nigga back. Dude wakes up. Shotgun hole in him. Heals up. Kills the 3 people in there. And then goes to the tattoo artist like area and paints his face with tattoo ink. I can't make this up. He paints his face with tattoo ink. Not into like a cool way, but like a weird like almost like a mask type dealio, I want to say. Like I don't really know, like, and Thomas will put this image up for you guys to see. But it will be like, yeah, it'll be it'll be Bill Skarsgård with just like ink around his eyes and leading into like his mouth and shit. And so then he goes from this, I don't know, it gets like Batman-ish vibes, Joker-ish vibes. Like there are things about this movie where I'm like, this could have been something. Like the action stuff in it, I think is done really well. It's also rated R, by the way. I didn't even mention that up top. It's rated R for no other reason than I think language and blood, I want to say, because it's not that graphic. There are parts of it where I'm like, you could tune this down just a little bit and you would not even, like this would have gotten a PG-13 easily. This could have easily been PG-13, which I'm not saying you have to make your movie PG-13, but if you're going to make it, if you're not going to go the full John Wick and commit to that side of it, or to commit to like, to really anything, to strong language, to any, if you're not going to commit to any reason for this to be rated R, then don't make it rated R, because we're still at a point in the world where rated R movies aren't going to be as successful as a PG-13, as a PG, as a G movie. It's just not going to happen. We're still not at that point where that can happen. Like we see movies do it, but those are the top of the line movies that are really, really good. A rated R, the Crow movie, rated R action movie like this is not going to be like, it's not going to top charts unless we've got more reasons to be there. And anyways, so he gets the paint on. He goes to this place, to the opera, where the woman is at, the assistant of Vincent. He gets there, and ensues the coolest fight scene in the entire movie. And honestly, I'd watch it again just to see this fight scene, because I do just like this fight scene. He has like this tiny little sword that he stole from his dead friend's house, the dead tattoo artist's house. He stole it from there, and he has a pistol that he took off one of the men. So he goes to the opera, which, by the way, all the fighting that they do, nobody ever catches on that they're fighting out there. But I just want to say, the opera's loud. I don't think the opera's loud enough to mask gunshots if you're sitting in the fucking back row. I think you're going to hear gunshots going off. But anyways, he gets there, and he fucking tears through like what feels like 20 different dudes. I'm talking heads being cut off, stabbed through the throat. Like some of the action, like some of the stuff for the rated R was decently visceral, which I like. You know, you go on rated R so you can get the bloody like action there, like the Deadpool type shit. Like go for it. Like be a little gross with it. And so like, but anyways, it ensues like in a sick action scene. He's like climbing upstairs, stabbing, slicing, shooting, just taking shots left and right because he keeps healing. But the difference between him and like I don't know, I guess all superheroes that heal like that feel pain, but his pain is much more like he feels like he's dying, like he feels like the death of it. I think I don't know. He acts like he's really hurt by it, but he still is healing from it. But like he goes through and just like takes names, man. It's a badass scene set to the backdrop of it. I would honestly, I'd probably just watch that and forego the rest of the movie because it is still pretty cool to see him go through and kill those people. But he gets through all those guys, gets up there, cuts an old man's head off, and then finds the lady and he's like, tell me where he's at, and doing like his best interrogation thing. And she's like, all right, and he's probably going to be here. And he's like, I won. Cuts her head off, walks to the stage where the opera performer is going for no reason other than he just wants to show off to the audience because he's a sick man. He looks like a school shooter at some points, by the way. But he's just a sick man. He goes up there with two of the heads and just throws them on the fucking stage. And the audience takes off running. No, sorry, he doesn't throw them onto the stage. What he does is he walks up with them in his hands onto stage. People start screaming and running. And then he throws the fucking heads into the audience. And like nearly hits a guy with it, bro. He's fucking weird. So he takes off from there. He goes and meets our villain. They have a little chit chat. The villain tries to steal his power of not dying. They fight. He throws the villain into limbo and then sends the villain to hell. And then he has a little moment with his girl. He's like, "Okay, you're gonna come back to life." And then she comes back to life. Now here's where the movie gets interesting a little bit. So when they both died originally, what happened is she got sent to hell. He went to the afterlife. Their bodies though were right next to each other. When he woke up, her body was, when he came back to life, her body was missing. But later on in the movie, you see that there's a funeral. So what I was thinking is like, okay, well, they had the funeral for it. This is going to be interesting if she gets to come back. How are they going to do this? Because you see a funeral happen. So you're like, okay, well, they probably buried her, or maybe her body got thrown in the river or some shit like that. But then here's where the movie gets actually kind of interesting. When he brings her back, it shows her perspective of her waking up. She wakes up next to his dead body. And then she gets to go on about her life, implying that he altered the timeline somehow. Because there's also a point where he changes one of his tattoos after he comes back from the dead. He changes one of his tattoos. And you can see that it's changed on the body that's on the ground. So when she wakes up, she sees that tattoo has changed, which implies that all the people that he killed when she was dead should still be alive. But as far as it looks for her and for the people around her, time has not moved on from the point of where they've been killed. If that makes any sense. Like what it looks like happened is that like she woke up in a timeline where everything had been done and he had always had that tattoo. Is what I'm thinking. That or like it happened, all the people are still dead, but then time reversed with the people still being dead and having, I guess, not been alive. Like it's really weird thing to wrap your head around because let's say this is the timeline where he went through and killed all the people, but his body is there with the changed tattoo, which means that that's his actual body. Then those people should still be alive because technically he hasn't killed them yet. Because she wakes up next to him with the police, like just now resuscitating her. And we saw when he was going through and killing the people that there was a funeral and that the body had been moved and shit. So it wouldn't make sense for her to be like brought back to life like that. This is what I'm talking about. Like it gets weird. Like if you really think about it, it's like, okay, well then I guess it's not necessarily a new timeline, but he altered reality somehow to make that those people were dead. But at what point did they die? Did they still do the thing where she killed that man? Or had they always been dead? And she just remembers a life with them, but a life that didn't happen with them. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking weird. It's a weird thing that they did and they made happen. But I don't know. That's just a little food for y'all to think about. That's the movie The Crow. I mean, yeah. Very much to really go on here. Like it's fine. Like I've mentioned a couple times, I think this movie could be better and could have worked more. Because this movie is not gonna. If this movie makes his money back, it's gonna be by barely and probably on streaming. I think this movie could have been John Wick with just like a few extra steps, which isn't a bad thing. Like I'm not saying everything should be John Wick clone. Like his action doesn't need to be as par on there because he has that thing where he heals, so you can be more gruesome with it. You can take more licks and things like that. But like, I don't know. The love story was also a little underdeveloped. They have like weird things about them where like they just kind of, I don't know. I don't know. It's strange. They're a weird couple. They're just, and it's not that they don't have the chemistry. Like I don't think it's a problem with their acting. I think it's a problem with their writing. And like I said, some things don't feel like they get time to breathe, or some things breathe a little too much. I feel like once she died, we should have gone a little bit more. We should have been more action to action to action for a little bit, and maybe did like a longer timeline of it. Maybe showed him failing a lot more times, dying a little bit more, like actually being sent back to limbo a couple more times, where he's like, okay, well, I got to straighten up this way, because he never really gets better at what he does, even though, which is strange because I know he feels the pain every time he gets like hit and shit and shot, like it hurts. So like I don't know why he never gets better at fighting or like planning out his moves and shit. And he doesn't really dismantle this guy's like empire necessarily. He just kind of goes for the guy, kills him, and is like, all right, I'm on my way. Which is just, I don't know. It's whatever. It's fine. Like I said, I don't hate it. I'd probably watch it again if I'm being for real. But it's just, I don't know. Like this movie could have, I don't know. There's not bad things in it. Like I would definitely be interested to sit down and watch this. If somebody asked me to watch this with them, I'm not being like, no, ew. Like I'll watch it with you. But there are things about it where I'm like, this is not, like there are half-baked ideas in here quite often. And it doesn't glare, but it's not like terrible. I don't know. That being said, I'm gonna move into the rating portion of this. I think it's fine. It's not the worst thing ever. It's probably, realistically, it's probably a 5.5, which isn't terrible. Because like I said, it's not shit. It's not a movie that I'm not gonna say don't watch it. I'm gonna say don't go to theaters and see it. If it's on Netflix in like a couple months, good on you. I'd probably watch it. I mean, if you're a Bill Skarsgård fan, it's fine for Bill Skarsgård. It's not terrible. If you like FKA Twigs, she's in it. She's in it quite a bit, actually. Which is shocking because she's just the person that dies. She's the motivation for the crow in its entirety. So it's weird. I don't know. Because John Wick's wife, like when she dies, she's in it a little bit, but she's not the main center of the thing you pick up with John Wick. Because he's your main character. But FKA Twigs is in this quite a bit. Which is fine, it's whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 5.5. That's the Midnight Critics score. Midnight Review score. And that's that, you know? So since we did our rating and you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe. Drop a like. Leave a comment. Go to Spotify. Episodes that release on YouTube release 15 minutes earlier than the Spotify ones, but the Spotify ones are the same day as the YouTube episodes. So decipher that how you want. We got Instagram. We got TikTok. We got X, the everything app. Makes me want to fucking cry. We got, I think that's it. We might have other stuff. Leave a comment. Movies you want me to watch. I might do one for the actual Crow 1994 because I've never seen it, but people talk about it and it seems like it's probably good. So I might do one for that. Yeah. It's your boy. We're here. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.